Welcome to the Talented Investors That Share podcast.
You're really going with that? That's the name? Have you figured out what it spells?
Welcome to the Talented Investors That Share podcast. This would be episode number 1 for those of you keeping track at home. With me today, I think it would just make sense for us to have an introduction, like who are these people? Why are we here? Why does this podcast exist? And what are we looking to accomplish? So we're just going to get it kicked off right from the start. I know we've got an audio intro. We've got an audio outro, but that's being taken care of at another time. So for right now, let's just get to know each other. I mean, I know you pretty well, but let's just assume the audience at home doesn't know anything about you. So who the heck are these two people on camera in front of them right now?
Okay. So we are Adam and Amanda New. We are based out of Richmond, Virginia. By background, we've been married now 11 years, coming up on 12.
At least 4 of those happily.
Yeah, at least 4. Yeah, by background, we had corporate jobs, corporate lives. We used to sell credit card processing for a local bank here in the area. We went up the corporate ladder in that institution. And then in March of 2020, you got quite unceremoniously laid off the day the world shut down.
Yeah, that's for those keeping track at home. That's March 12th. Was that 2020?
March 12th, 2020, day before your birthday.
Yeah, that was a bad birthday. I did not have fun with that.
You did not. You did not. So you got laid off pretty abruptly. And with that, I think you and I had been talking about doing something like just getting out of this corporate job. Like we were traveling multiple nights a week, going in different directions. We had just had our first daughter. So we knew this wasn't a sustainable life. We made great money. Everything was all good, but this just wasn't what we were called to do. So we had talked about investing. Specifically, we wanted to kick off with wholesaling that really suited our background as salespeople by nature. Mm-hmm. And so you said, all right, well, I guess this is what we're going to do. So Adam spent the next 30 days just going down a rabbit hole of YouTube and ended up linking up with some people that had a similar value structure and a similar sized business that we wanted to accomplish out of Mississippi. We linked arms with them. They taught us what we needed to know, and we stood up a business summer of 2020.
So summer of 2020, and it all went smoothly. There were no hiccups, and we're just wildly successful. And yeah, that's essentially our story. And ask no further questions.
No further questions.
We can shut it down right here, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
So we stood up the business summer 2020 with lots of, is this going to work? We sunk a good chunk of money into it with not necessarily immediate returns. Just a lot of in that time, you also got another job to help make sure that we had what we needed. So we would wiggle. I remember this so clearly, you and I wiggling the mouse so that way we'd stay online in Teams or Skype, run out the door to run a seller appointment, run back, wiggle the mouse again and be like, we were here the whole time.
Yeah.
So we did that all summer. And then flash forward to September of 2020, we had 2 properties under contract. They had not even closed yet.
Yeah.
We're like, that feels good. That should be fine. There's never title issues. There's never, liens, judgments, anything like that. We said, yeah, we'll make the money. It'll be fine.
So yeah, we were so new that we had no idea what could go wrong.
Right.
So we were naive enough to assume it would go right.
Right.
Which in retrospect was a good decision, but we would not recommend it for anyone else.
No. If we had presented our story to ourselves now, I would be horrified and I would tell you absolutely do not quit your job. That's a terrible idea. You need to get a runway. But we just knew we were good. I think it was a combination of, yes, we have these 2 things under contract. We knew the revenue they were going to generate. So we knew that that would kick the can down the road. But then it was also what we really did summer of 2020 is, yes, we stood up a business, but what that really means is that we stood up the marketing and the avenues with which we would be generating leads. And we knew that if we kept sinking the money into that channel, it would still produce X amount of leads. So as long as we were willing to continue to invest, and we are now starting to see the returns on that investment, in theory, there should still be more coming right behind it.
Okay, so let's just assume whoever's listening to this in the moment has done no deals, one deal, two deals, just kind of getting started. That summer of 2020, like, what did we actually spend? Whether effective or not, let's be real here. Because again, this is a journey of learning how to market, learning how,
Right.
you don't just like throw money at a problem and it's a guaranteed success, right? So how much did we spend? Or even probably even back up a little bit that, what were we making combined in our W-2s and how much runway had we really set ourselves up?
So we have a couple answers to that question. Combined before you got laid off, we combined made like $250.
Okay.
And then your new job was projected to make about $400.
Okay.
And then if you include mine in there, we were going to make about $500,000. Now that yours had a bonus structure that you didn't fully realize. So we never actually realized that income. But point being, that's what we were projected to have. And you got a severance.
Okay.
Now, also, full disclosure, that severance went to a kitchen because we're like, it's fine. And so we redid our entire first floor.
Just batting 1,000 with really good COVID money-making decisions. It's kind of a wonder why we're even here at this
point. It really is. So we spent that money so the severance did not get used for what it probably should have been used for, which is
we're going to pretend that we were financially responsible and took that severance and invested it into ourselves.
Right.
But really, it was our passion for cooking.
And for non-oak cabinets.
Okay, yes, yeah.
So
really don't like oak cabinets. Today's episode is brought to you by white shaker style cabinets to the ceiling.
At some point, we'll show you photos. It's a beautiful kitchen.
I like it.
It's great. Yeah. So, okay. So
and who designed that kitchen, by the way?
Me.
Of course you did.
Hell yeah. And there's our first curse word. That didn't take long.
And it was you.
It was me.
It was you.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's what we made combined. Now, to get this business off and running. So for us, this is where I'm going to say this is a Amanda and Adam thing. This is not a future investor, what you should do.
Yeah, this is the only way to do it.
Let me be
one of our absolute favorite things, by the way, is this is the way to do real estate. There's no such thing. Your mileage may vary.
Right. For us, our issue was not money. Our issue was time. We did not have time to go drum up all these leads and to do these things. We needed a shortcut and a plan to stand up a business and a shortcut to marketing. What does that mean? It means you are always either going to invest sweat equity or monetary equity, let's just say, into a business to stand it up. We just didn't have time. So what does that mean? We spent money. And that meant like we paid for a mentorship. We did not, yes, you used YouTube to get some basic level knowledge, but like once it came to like, what should Adam and Amanda do to stand up a business? That was when we needed help. So at that point, we paid for someone to tell us what to do based on our unique needs, our goals, our time, our budget, all of that. So we paid for that. Then we sat there and said, we will pay for marketing. So instead of typically when we work with people that are newer, we always recommend driving for dollars and things that are a little bit cheaper or if not free. So when we do that, we're trying to work within someone's budget. And we did do that initially, if you remember. We had Ellie in the back seat. We were driving around Hanover, like trying.
We've got photos of her, like you holding her, because she couldn't even walk yet. So we have photos of her, like infant Ellie. It's a really pretty black and white one of you in that
condemned quad.
Condemned quad, but on the side of 95 that ended up getting purchased by the city and torn down for something. Was it a continuation of a housing project? Something along those lines. But yeah, the guy that we made fun of him, but he ended up actually getting what he wanted for that house, but from the city
3 years later.
And that was the neighborhood bicycle that everyone put under contract and then tried to sell for $1 million, and just no one wanted it. Yeah.
So we did drive for dollars initially, but then quickly we were like, all right, we get it. Like, what next? And so we did a batch of cold calling. So we spent money on getting that skip traced and the batch dialer and blah, blah, blah.
How did we feel about cold calling?
We hated it.
And why though? Like what?
So once again, going back to a time thing, cold calling can be relatively speaking inexpensive, especially if you're doing it for yourself. But the real issue is that you have to do it first off. And once again, we're still working our corporate jobs. So like, I'm like literally on a dialer as I'm watching my work email come through, and I'm answering emails as things are, as emails are coming in, I'm like on the dialer doing this thing. A lot of angry people. And the challenge with skip tracing and kind of just spewing stuff out into the world is you're just kind of literally throwing mud up against a wall and seeing what sticks. It's no one says that they're interested in selling. They just have high equity. Like, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So we didn't get a ton of results out of that. Also, we didn't really invest a ton of time into it. So like, some people crush it in cold calling, and that's amazing for you. I just was unwilling to do it. So we went to mail.
Yeah. So just like kind of a pro tip, if you're getting ads or things out there and you're thinking like, I think this is something I want to go to, your mileage is going to vary from ours. So if you're interested in cold calling, I would talk to people that have had success with that,
Right.
that have used that and are happy with it. Not the guy that signed up for it 4 days ago, but go to the guy that's like, this is my primary source of marketing, and this is why it's been successful for me. And I can explain to you why they do it and why they're going to continue to use it. I can't even begin to tell you how many people will suddenly call you and be like, I just signed up for this thing. And you're like, cool, how's it working? They're like, I don't know yet. And like, well, then why would I sign up for it?
Right.
So,
Right. So ultimately, we settled in on mail. We worked with, at the time, a company that had like a CRM and a mail house all built in with VAs that were going to kind of triage the mail as it came in and give us the leads that made sense. And we did that. And that quickly was like between $3,000 and $5,000 a month for the whole package.
how did that feel at the time for us?
Oh, it was horrifying.
Yeah, because obviously it's more than our mortgage. It's more than,
Right.
I mean,
First of all,
essentially
we really
all
had-
of our expenses combined. We're just doubling our expenses overnight.
Yes, with no real guarantee that we were going to get anything out of it. So we did that and we panicked. But we stayed the course, and it took us, we started that in early June. We got our first real thing probably mid-July, so 45 days in, and then got our first thing under contract mid-August. So then at that point, you're 75 days in.
Hmm.
So
we're how many dollars?
ignore the mentorship for a second. If you just say with like skip tracing and mail and all this stuff, we're probably $10,000, $12,000 in.
$10,000, $12,000 in, hadn't signed a contract.
Right.
And then this is just going out on faith.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So we blew through that. But then we got the first thing under contract. Second thing came on like a week or two later, I want to say.
And so we were primarily, and we probably should have said this too, we were primarily at that point, our goal was to wholesale exclusively.
Right.
We were not looking to flip. We were not looking to do Airbnb. We were not looking to do novations or
buy and hold. No.
No.
Because so this is also something that first Amanda, second opinion, that I believe a lot of people trip up on is they want to do everything right off the jump because they hear all these things on YouTube where like, this is the only way to make money. Everything else is stupid. Or this is the only way to market. Everything else is stupid. So they get real like, I need to do all the things like, because I don't have 100 doors yet. And I'm like, whoa, what's your first goal? And our first goal, I think I will be the first to say, I think one of the reasons why we are where we are right now, one of the first things we did right was we stayed the course. And that meant we stayed the course with our plan that we had made with people that knew better than us. And we stayed the course in that we needed to learn the skill of wholesaling. We did not focus on anything else. We were not focused on flipping. We were not focused on buy and hold. We weren't focused on tenant management and property management, all that. We were focused on one thing, which was basically acquisition. How do I get a property under contract at a significant enough discount that no matter what, someone can make money on this project?
Gotcha.
Most people do not stay the course long enough to either one, get the sales skills to get it cheap enough, or two, they swirl and they say, well, then wholesaling doesn't really work. Let me just go like buy and hold off the MLS, or they do stuff like that, which is an avenue, but in this market for us did not make sense. So we got hyper fixated on the concept of wholesaling and being masters of our craft when it came to wholesaling.
Okay. So we set up a wholesaling business.
Yes.
And we exclusively did that for how long?
Oh, well, Mill would be the first time we did anything besides that. That was a sub 2, and that was June of the following year. But outside of that, I mean, we wholesaled for, I mean, our like 95% of anything we did for the first 3 years, 2 to 3 years was just wholesaling. We may have picked up like a sub 2 here or a sub 2 there, mostly because I personally do not believe you should wholesale something that is subject to the existing mortgage, which we can explain.
Yeah, I think that's another day.
Yeah, that's another day. Point being, like, there are certain things that, like, if I'm just giving a house to somebody, like, point A to point B, great. But if there's, like, financing that sticks around and things like that, like, I get really funny about giving that to somebody else. I need to make sure that gets paid. So, exclusively wholesaled for about the first 2 or 3 years.
Okay. So spent $12,000 before we got our first deal. Got our first deal. And was that that was a wholesale, and that was like $38,000 for the assignment there?
27.5.
27. Okay. I don't know why I come up with my number. Okay. We're going to go with yours. 27.5. You seem more confident than me, so we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
And then kind of averaged that 30,000-ish number. Like, was it just, do you think we just started high? And so all of a sudden we're like, yeah, that's what you should do every time.
I think so. And I think also for us, I mean, because we were high income earners, like $5,000 didn't impress us.
Right.
$5,000 honestly didn't cover our marketing.
Right.
So we knew that in order to like continuing to invest in the marketing and to pay for our life, we needed a certain amount of revenue. I had calculated it. Yeah. We needed a certain amount of revenue every single month. And if that wasn't coming in, like, this didn't make sense anymore. So I think we just always were shooting for that number every single month to make sure that everything was covered.
Okay. So we were doing that. And so essentially we just replaced our W-2 income.
Correct.
I wouldn't say that we went wildly over. I think it's pretty much spot on for the first
old,
2 years.
And the old number, like not what we would have made if you had stuck around in the job you had done. So yeah, but basically at the end of September, both of us quit our jobs. So
yeah, other detail.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 months in, we walk away from our W-2.
It's fine.
Said toodles.
Yeah.
We're out of here.
Sure.
Retrospect, good idea, bad idea?
I think it was a good idea because we needed that time to run a business.
Yeah.
It's not like we made bad money. Like, we were making good money. Like, our mortgage was paid for.
Yeah.
We bought a car. We went on trips. Like, our daughter, we paid for our daughter's daycare. Like, I mean, life was good. Like, there wasn't anything wrong.
For me, I think it was having the creative freedom to be able to actually think, trying to do the W-2 and the wiggle the mouse and then go on an appointment. Like, it can be done and there's a season for that. But the moment that you have the ability, I think the phrase that we kind of said was, okay, we were able to accomplish X with 15 hours of our time. Now imagine not having to worry about getting on the phone with your boss, going and seeing clients, I've had a team of people that worked underneath me, managing them, their emotions. Some of them were more stable than others. Some of them were long for that job. Some of them weren't.
Yeah.
So like that piece, once we could just drop that entirely. I think another thing that we've also said, and this is just, I don't know whether or not everybody can do this, but if you can, God bless you. We got to a point as husband and wife where we were like, I believe in you.
Right.
Like, I believe in you, Amanda.
Right.
And then you looked at me and said, I believe in you, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something we both wanted to pursue, right? This wasn't me dragging you into real estate by the collar and saying like, this is what we're going to do. You said, I want to do this. And I said, well, me too. Right. So, and we were both equally as excited and I would say equally yoked at that point in the sense of like, we had already, by the time we left our jobs, started to differentiate. Okay, so I'll do acquisitions and dispositions and you'll do more of the admin and figuring out, what the marketing piece and all that. And so it was a fairly equal distribution of labor.
Well, up until Charlotte was born, we ran appointments entirely together. So it was almost like I was lead management. We were both acquisition. And then you took the ball and ran with it from there.
Yeah.
I mean, we were running together.
Right. So, yeah. So, and then
literally
going to appointments together. So like just that piece, we didn't have to worry about making a decision that the other person was going to be like, why did you put that thing under contract? You were there. So like you got to see it with your own eyes. And so if we made a mistake, we made a mistake together. So I think that was kind of a positive thing there. I will say for me, like that initial stage where it was like everything was mission critical, was a high blood pressure situation. If you put something under contract and you realize this is going to be a $55,000 assignment, it can't fall out because
Right.
there's how are you going to replace that 55,000 in revenue? There is no other runway, right?
Right.
So that was admittedly a high blood pressure situation. Whereas now I feel like if a deal were to fall out, and now that we've got a bigger pipeline, it's statistically more likely to happen.
Right.
It's not as, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We've got to go back to work,
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that piece. So I think we got the comfortability now. Okay. So we were starting off. So deal flow at that time. So in the 2 year, 3 year, when would you feel like it really started to take off?
I think we were pretty much like at 1 or 2 deals a month, pretty much all of 2021, all of 2022.
Mhm.
So 2.5 years. We were kind of like in a onesie,
Okay.
twosie situation for a while.
And then things started to change. So
Right.
what for the better, right? So
Yeah.
with things, then things changed. Then we went back to work, and that's the end of the story. Thank you all for listening. What do you think was the catalyst for that change?
So we had a couple things kind of converge at the same time. One, I was pregnant with our second,
Mhm.
Charlotte. So we quickly.
So is that a pro tip? Have a baby?
No.
Everything gets easier with a baby?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do not do that. Do it when it's right. Don't do it because you're trying to keep a marriage together, and don't do it to try and keep a business together because it
Right.
doesn't work in either case.
Right.
So I was pregnant with Charlotte.
Mhm.
And then we realized that stuff was just really inefficient and ineffective.
Mhm.
Like our marketing wasn't working the way it needed to. Our business wasn't running very smoothly. We were having lots of fits and starts where we'd have like a baller March, and then we'd have nothing in June and nothing in July, or just like it just was a roller coaster. So it was not very stable. You'd have great months and you'd have like nothing.
Right.
Just nothing.
Yeah.
And then we quickly realized that with Charlotte coming, I think with our oldest, Ellie, we had maternity and paternity leave because we still had W-2 income. And so I had 4 months, you had 2. Like we got this time that we realized we weren't going to have with Charlotte.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, what am I, like, I'm the one answering the phone when someone calls. Like, what, I'm going to be in the middle of labor and like, hey, you want to sell your house? Like, no. So we need to hire people. Like, we just recognized like this is not going to work.
We were in the hospital and you were in labor, and I was taking calls with our realtor at that point.
Yes.
That was
It's fine.
it's fine. Was it fine?
It was fine because I wasn't like, I mean,
This is like marriage counseling at the same time. Was it fine? Should we talk about that?
no, we
Okay.
were good. It was like the very, very beginning. We were still good. I mean,
You had another 24 hours to go, right?
yeah, basically. So we recognized something was wrong.
Yeah.
Like I don't, and I think you were particularly frustrated because the whole point of this was to have this big life, like to have this
Right.
big, just life. I don't know how else to describe it. Like we just have so many things we want to accomplish, so many places we want to go, like so many values we want to instill in our kids. And to kind of just feel like you own a job, it was not what we wanted. Dude.
So we have a small dog, 13-pound dog that is currently just walking around and bumping into things, and he's lovely.
Do you just want to kick him out?
I'm considering it. He's looking up at us now. This is real life.
Yeah.
This is real life.
This is at our house.
We're just gonna help him move along. All right. So.
There you go. Perf. Okay.
I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah, he will.
He'll make an appearance.
He's codependent.
He's adorable.
He's extraordinarily codependent,
Yeah.
though.
All right. So we've got 2 kids and a dog. And okay, so things started to change. Charlotte, they needed to change because we had these audacious goals, but we basically replaced the W-2 income, and then that was great. I mean, obviously lifestyle is awesome, but like still
We weren't really pulling ahead. And then you're on this roller coaster,
Yeah.
which I think also was like a little bit like we always knew we were fine because you could always see like when it would drop again, like when the next deal would come through. But it's just not a good feeling to like not make money in a month. Like it's just
Yeah.
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 And like
Even
just,
if you made a whole bunch the month before,
right,
you
like
going to make a whole bunch next month. And obviously you're not just blowing it all and then being like, oh, I have $2 in my checking account. We'd had more money in our account than we'd ever had.
right.
And then we're like, okay, well, but still like,
Yeah.
we want to do this, right? So when did you say we like really started pulling ahead?
So, well, let's back up a second. So, like, what changed?
Yeah.
So, we realized that we were at the limit of what we knew because if we knew more, then we would have been further along. So, clearly, we had capped like what we could accomplish, just the two of us and our brain.
Right.
So, we knew we once again needed outside help, which is not a bad thing. Like, none of us have gone to business school. We don't know like what we're doing. So, hire people that do and like have them look at your business and say, okay, fix this, this, and this, and everything will be better.
Right.
So we did. And we spent a small fortune on hiring like business coaches.
Gotcha.
They came here for a couple of days. They cracked open every facet of our business, looked at how much we were paying for different marketing channels, how much it cost us to get a contract, how much it cost us to get a lead. Like they looked at everything. Yeah. They're like, yeah, y'all don't know what you're doing.
So that felt like the first like real big boy thing where you're just like, I'm going to drop some real money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A 5-figure sum of money.
Right. Into just having somebody tell me what I'm doing wrong.
And the answer was a lot.
Most everything.
Yeah, basically every facet of how you do this.
And we've said this a bunch, so we felt like we sold our way out of a lot of problems. So like our sales skills were good enough to where we could put enough under contract that even when running a business inefficiently, it still made money.
Right.
The problem is if we ever made any attempt at growth and any attempt at having somebody else do even the slightest bit of our business as an employee, it just wasn't gonna, it was gonna fall apart at that point.
Right. We made enough money to pay for us. We did not make enough money to pay for everything. And because we squeezed so much out of each contract, you know, the average wholesaler in our market probably makes like 10, 15K. And we were making 25 to 30. So it's like we were being more effective with
per deal, by the way, not just annually.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, per deal. So we were squeezing the most we could out of each deal, but then each deal was so critical. And we still maintain our ratios even today, but now there's just more of it. So it stabilizes us. So yeah, I think we just realized we were stuck. And so then they came in and they're like, yeah, you're very stuck. And we said, what do we do? And they go, change everything about everything you're doing. And we're like, cool.
Okay. So fundamentally, what did we start doing that you're like, okay, there it is?
So I think fundamentally, like if we look at the first couple of years we ran our business, we talked about this on another podcast, is we ran our business like salespeople, which no duh, that's fundamentally what we have always been historically. Yeah. And what do salespeople want? They want more leads. The marketing channels are never good enough. More leads, more leads, more leads. But the flip side of that coin is I don't want to follow up. I don't want to like coordinate a transaction beyond the initial like hunt, kill, move on, which is great when you want to wholesale because that is a lot of hunt, kill, move on. But like there are people that genuinely you can win. You just need to give them time or you need to help them to develop a plan or like, you know, there's insert 50,000 different variables. So they basically told us you run your business like salespeople. More marketing isn't always the answer because like you're not as effective. You don't go as deep. You don't follow up as well. And more marketing can a lot of times can mean more ineffective marketing. So if you pick the wrong thing, you're not talking to the right people anyways.
It's like a law of diminishing returns, right? Your market is only but so big.
Right.
So it might work if you live in, you know, a major metro like Dallas or Atlanta or New York or LA, but like Richmond's actually a fairly small city.
Yeah. I mean, we're
medium. We're like kind of not a medium, but we don't have a major franchise.
But we are a state capital. And so, you know. So basically what the feedback they gave us is like, 1, you're right, this is not sustainable. 2, you need to start tracking this stuff. Like, how much are you actually spending on marketing? Are those marketing channels working? Do they have the right multipliers? How much is it costing you to put something under contract? Like how much marketing do you have to spend to 1, get a lead, 2, get a qualified lead, because those two are not the same, and then put it under contract. And then at that point, like who could be the right people you put into place to help get yourself untangled out of stuff. Because at the end of the day, I should not be the one answering the phone.
Right.
That is a task that you can teach somebody very simply. That way my brain can be used on something else. You should not be writing emails. Like someone else can write the email. You just check it. Looks good. And then you send it to the moneylender. Like things like that.
And depending on who you talk to, you know, the way that gets described is like as the CEO, and oftentimes you're going to be over titled in the beginning, right? So CEO is a relative term. You're a one-man band, but you're the CEO of this thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The goal is to eventually be doing the $1,000 an hour tasks, right?
Right.
You know, the acquisition side of our business is very much a $1,000 plus an hour side of our business. So all I want to be doing is be available to do those things.
Right.
Eventually to have a team that can go do those things for me. But that'll be the last thing that we give up. The $20 an hour tasks, which are just simply answering the phone, that is for someone being paid $20 an hour to do ... if the revenue of the business supports that.
Right. And big thing, and you know how to teach it. The only way you know how to teach it is if you've done it.
Right.
So the other thing that we see that I personally believe is a mistake is I'm going to scale. Like you've been in business 25 seconds and you're trying to scale. Like you don't know what to even tell somebody to do. When we finally did hire someone to answer the phone, for example, I had a whole manual.
Right.
Like I had Loom videos, I had scripts, I had if this, then this. I had something that is a true, like, I'm going to hand this to you and I'm going to teach you what I know and how I do this because I had done it.
So like a real business. Like if you go to work at a bank, they're like, this is how you are a bank teller. Right. These are the 9 things you need to do to be successful. And here's how to do them.
Yeah.
Here's how to access the system. Here's how to send an email. Here's how we talk. Here's our branding. Here's all that stuff.
You cannot teach what you don't understand. And there's a difference between I get the gist.
Right.
I am proficient and I'm a master.
Yeah.
Until you are like proficient or master level, you have not earned the right to delegate that. Because you are not going to delegate it properly because you're not going to tell them how to do it the way it needs to be done.
And then inevitably you're going to blame them
for
really,
your ineptitude.
But really it's just your fault for not being able to describe this role and to be able to train it properly, right? Because you don't even know what you're doing.
Right.
We've seen people in the past attempt at like making 5 phone calls in cold calling personally and then literally hand the headset over to somebody that isn't even passionate about real estate.
Right.
They're just like, I need a job. And then you're like, cool, do you want to be an outbound cold caller for what? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
And then they're bad at it. And you're like, gasp.
Yeah. And I think the challenge is that people run away from stuff that's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
People run away from the things that don't feel good. Cold calling does not feel good.
No. You're going to get cussed out. You're going to get...
Yeah.
It's negative.
Like,
it's a lot of negative energy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Dealing with your books is not comfortable. Like dealing with spreadsheets is not comfortable. But until the revenue makes sense and you understand your business well enough that you could hand it off, you have not earned the right to release that uncomfortability.
Yeah.
You just haven't. So you got to stick with it. You got to be in the crap. Like you got to do all those things so that way you can be better. So that way the next person can do better. Like they need to be built on top. Like they will eventually be better than you if you give them the foundation to step up onto. But if you didn't give them that, they will be no better than you.
Yeah.
So anyways, just this is a soapbox and a half for me.
But I mean, these are lessons that we've learned in real time, right?
Right.
You know, so like we are not innocent of this stuff. So it's, you know, so yeah, you're not just getting up there espousing some opinion. Like these are mistakes that we made along the way.
Right.
So like, again, going back to like what gives you the right to talk about it? Well, you did it, right? You not only did you do the role, but then you made the mistakes. I mean, I say you, but it's we.
Right.
Right.
Well, and I will also say it doesn't mean they have to be perfect at it. It just means that like you need to be able to tell someone, here's the true north, here's the objective, here's the most effective way to accomplish it. And then you give them the space to manipulate that role into what they need it to be. But you don't know if they're on or off track unless you've done it yourself. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, good point. So started to see growth. Let's talk about kind of where we're at today, because bringing the consultants, by the way, Sharper was our consultant that we brought in for them. They've been Gary Harper and his team, Austin McCurdy, Brandon McCurdy. Both of those guys have sat at our kitchen table, our vast office in Empire, which was just our kitchen table. So I'm sure they had fun with that. Amazing individuals, helped us with everything from marketing to just basically all the systems and processes and KPIs that we know today. So getting that piece sorted out, what does business look like today?
So what I found interesting when we went through that is how it was not immediate.
Okay.
So we hired them back in like February, March of 23.
Okay.
Had Charlotte July of 23.
Yeah.
And we really didn't see the like hockey stick effect until probably November or December.
Mm-hmm.
Because it took that long to like fix all the broken processes and to make decisions on marketing changes. What are we cutting off? What are we adding on? How are we redistributing this budget that we now have? Like how do we handle the different scenarios that come across our desk? Like we had to fix every facet of what we did.
Yeah.
But the result of that is that we started being able to run faster. We started being more effective on calls because we hired people. We started being able to even have the thought to flip. Because like we couldn't even wrap our brains around the bandwidth of flipping because we were just so bogged down in all this other stuff. So we could actually start talking about that.
Which opened up a new revenue potential, right? Because they're obviously, whenever you're wholesaling, right, you're getting it under contract, say for 100,000, you're selling that contract for 130. That guy's going off to make money in a flip.
Right.
Now, not as much money, right? Because, you're taking some of that gap there.
Right.
But like if you take the whole pie, that changes things. So now all of a sudden we're opening ourselves up to, and so we were increasing our average spread per deal. And what would you say that opened us up to?
So it once we also started like finding, we could actually have time to think about like contractors. Who are the right contractors for this project if we did take it on? You had already stood up some great relationships on the money lending side. So we could start tapping into that and be more effective with that. So what that meant is that $30,000 wholesale deal turned into an $80,000 flip.
Yeah.
And we could do that more often.
Yeah.
Because once we had the right processes in place, really it was like, get this flip started with like, what do you want done? What materials do you want? How do you want it to look? All that. Once you do that, then a GC and their team's running with it. I'm not the one swinging a hammer.
Right.
So you have people now working for you in the background as you continue to go acquire.
It's always funny now when I talk to like a potential seller and they're like, so you do all these projects? And they're looking at me, so I get it. They're looking at me and they're like, so like you run construction crews? And I'm like, I don't do anything. I'm a dork. Like, you kidding me? Like, I'm not swinging. Look at these hands. Like, these are not, they're not like the hands of a lineman.
Yeah. So I think at that point, like we could keep some of them because now also the part of the reason why we wholesaled is the immediacy of the money.
Right.
Once we had a little bit more runway, we could have a little more runway. Like, I can now wait for that money. I can wait for the 80 rather than the immediate 30.
Yeah. So having enough business to be able to take additional risks in a business without it, to what I said earlier, without being like the mission critical, every deal has to go through and go perfect.
And go through at the right time.
Right. Because now you're talking about a much longer cash cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think really like Q4 of 23, all of a sudden we were like, oh, snap. Like you had bumped up to like a contract a week, which versus like a contract every 3 to 4. We were able to flip instead of wholesale a few of those. We still wholesaled. We still do wholesale, depending on like what's coming across our desk. But we were able to make conscious choices to keep some things and flip them. And so you started seeing this like hockey puck effect. So where we were usually running about just shy of $500,000 in revenue with wholesaling. This year we'll land just shy of $2 million. Next year we'll probably, and this is a very conscious choice, we are not continuing to like dump more money into the business to keep it going to 3 or to 5 or to 10. Like we're making a very conscious choice.
Yeah.
Organically, it'll probably tick up to about 2 to 2.25. But like that's where it's for now. That's where it's going to sit.
That's a space we feel comfortable in. And a workload and a work, well, the work-life balance, to be cliche, but like that is an amount of work we're comfortable in that we also feel like we can start dipping our toes into being away from Richmond for longer periods of time. So kind of where we're at now, like we're intentionally putting more things on the calendar that put us away. Was it the 4-hour work week sort of thing, like leave to see what breaks when you're gone and then create systems and processes to make you unnecessary, essentially. Yeah. So would you say at this point we're trying to work our way out of the business? Like it is, I mean, and again, like I wouldn't necessarily like particularly urgently, but like, so it's not like by the end of the month or anything.
I think the goal, like the vision you and I've talked about is for right now, my goal is to work out of the day-to-day of the business. I don't need to pick out a vanity. I don't need to pick out a fridge.
Right.
I do need to make sure that the scopes are right, the timelines are right, and that we have like a true north on where this is headed.
Mm-hmm.
The details do not need to be me. You basically, we're taking every facet of your role away from you that you aren't efficient at. I'm not going to say not good at, but not efficient.
No, you could say it. I mean, like listen.
I'm trying to be kind here.
Know your strengths, right? I mean, I know your strengths. I'm really good sitting on someone's sofa in someone's living room. I'm really good at putting things under contract.
Correct.
I am really good at dispositions, although I don't even do that piece anymore. That's handled by the lovely Joan Small. But everything else, right? When we think about like the quintessential like integrator versus visionary. I like 110% I'm a visionary, but like you do not want me integrating your life. That was just that would be a bad choice.
Yeah.
I find that administrative tasks take me an amount of time that makes me feel dumb.
That is a very accurate way of putting it.
like I'm just like that an 8-minute tasks. I've just got an ADD brain and I'm off thinking about the next thing and the next 5 other here. And then let's film a podcast. And like next thing you know, like I'm over here going like, oh yeah, I was supposed to submit that contract to start title. And then that email, even the most basic of tasks. So like, I think that should make people feel good.
Yeah, I think, oh gosh, with the stories, we could have a whole podcast on making everyone feel better about themselves based on our ineptitudes.
Yeah.
I think, so I think really the goal right now is peel things away from us that we're either not good at or suck the energy out of us and keep the things, the $1,000 an hour tasks or the things that we are passionate about.
Yeah.
Like I'm not passionate about taxes, but like someone needs to handle it and I will handle it because ultimately that means I keep more money in my pocket.
Right.
So it's like, this is $1,000 an hour task if I do my tax strategy right.
Right.
Like you being able to just get fixated on having a stellar acquisition appointment is $1,000 an hour task.
Yeah. And I find that makes me like better, like generally speaking, that makes me better because now I'm okay. This is my role. Like this is my, like, I don't have 10 hats anymore.
Right.
You don't have 10 hats anymore. So like, you just got to get really good at that one role.
You've always complained in any job you've ever had that anytime anyone gave you too many conflicting priorities, you've always struggled with that. Where I just remember like it doesn't matter the role. Like I can think of multiple jobs where you're like, they keep on telling me that these 6 things are important. And I'm sitting here telling you can't have 6 important things.
Right.
And so for you now, it's like we've gotten you to a point where it's like, this is you.
Yeah.
You are accountable to this. I hold you accountable to this. And this is what you need to accomplish.
Yeah.
And get rid of the rest.
Which I think makes life easier. Like I because now I'm like, I will be more mindful. Okay, if I've got these 3 appointments on Thursday, I'm not going out Wednesday night for drinks with folks.
No.
I'm not staying up late.
Right.
Like I'm going to do the things that are going to give me the most success for Thursday.
Right.
Because that's really all anyone expects of me is to just knock that out of the park.
Right.
And that drives the revenue that keeps everything. Because it starts, that's where it starts.
Yeah, it starts.
And then, obviously it's your job to keep things in budget and project manage and all that other stuff. And now, because we've been successful in that and been diligent and disciplined with that, now we have a full-time project manager who we're able to compensate well, that we're able to reward for, with bonuses that like we can sit there and say, cool. And then, we don't take this one extra thing off of us. We don't want to answer the phone. Well, now we have someone that answers the phone full time. Right. And then we start finding admin tasks like turning on power and water. Well, we don't want to do that. Now we have someone that does that as well. Yeah. So we just keep peeling little teeny things away. I think it's going really well. I'm looking forward to being able to share what we're learning along the way, because I think we're kind of in this sweet spot where we're not out of the business. We're very much in it day to day, right? Yes. So I'm excited, and just for as this extends, I'm looking forward to the future of just being able to have other folks at our level or higher that are coming in and just basically describing what they're successful at. Us being able to sit down and talk with them and just really figure out and just provide people with a bunch of different ways of doing it. Because you may be looking at this and saying like, I feel like I connect with Adam, or I feel like I connect with Adam. And if you don't, that's okay too. There'll be plenty of people here that you will connect with, and maybe they've got a business or a lifestyle that you're looking to mimic. So there'll be a lot of helpful stuff there.
Yeah. I'm excited because I feel like we're in, like you were saying, this sweet spot. We're like, you're brand new, I got you. Like we are not so far removed that we don't remember the first deals that we did, and the chaos and the stress and the late nights and the like toiling. I can remember like we'd put Ellie to bed and it's like we would be on Zoom calls because like we had to absorb knowledge as fast as humanly possible to do what we wanted to do. Yeah. So like I remember those days. Yeah. And if you're in that, awesome. Like we'll answer questions, we'll run scenarios. We'll tell you stories of what we did in similar situations. But then also, like, I think so many people see the big guys, like the $10 million wholesalers, the people that now are selling courses, and like the big, very successful, legitimately successful people.
Sure.
And they're so far removed now from being in it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but what, we've made a very conscious choice. Maybe down the road we'll change our mind. But as it stands right now, we like the size team we've got. We like the size business we got. We like the balance it provides. We're staying put.
Right.
It will organically grow a little bit, but we're staying put. And I don't think there's a lot of people in this space that talks about the in-between. Talks about having a couple of core guys that we're all in, we're doing something together.
Yeah.
And the mistakes that happen as a result along the way.
And a husband and wife team, right? That's that's different too. Because I would say you typically see one person that's incredibly dynamic and the other person that's kind of in the shadows.
Yeah.
That is not us. We both we're chatty patties, right? Yeah. I mean, we're both out there. We're both outgoing. We enjoy talking about real estate, doing real estate, anything related to real estate. This is our life.
Yeah. This is our life. And this is, when we think about like where this is headed, like this is what we're handing to our kids. Like this is what we're starting to teach them. They're 5 and 15 months. So like they aren't swinging a hammer yet or anything. But
give it time.
Yeah, give it time. But like we're stay here because I think the thing that no one ever asked me until it was not too late, but until I was an adult, everyone always asks you when you're in school, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. Everyone always asks that question. And I think the better question that someone presented me that now we kind of live our life by is like, what's the type of life you want to live?
Yeah.
Everyone has a very different answer. So everyone needs a wildly different business that would support that answer. So we're going to show you how we want to live. Really, that's what we're going to be talking about. Like why we're doing what we're doing in the way that we're doing it. And we'll show you what other people are trying to do with their life and what they want to do. And if that resonates, I'm looking forward to everyone being on the journey with us.
So let's provide folks with we got a husband and wife here, right? So you won't be here every time, but like there'll be something. Do we want to call that the hot seat? I don't feel like that's just too overdone, but we'll figure out what we want to call it as we go.
Can we call it the guest of honor chair?
The guest of honor chair. Okay. Maybe.
Okay.
All right. Well, husband and wife tips for those that are out there saying like, I feel like this is something commonly said is like, how do I get my wife to do this into real estate? Which sounds very eerily similar to something that they would ask Dr. Drew on Loveline. So how do I get my wife to do X? Right. And you figure out what they were asking him. You know what they were asking him. But when a real estate person comes along and says, how do I get my wife to do X? What is your advice to those people?
You're never going to get your wife to do anything.
Right.
You can't get your wife to do jack squat.
Unless it's your birthday.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No.
All right. So I think what they want is they're asking, how do I get my wife excited about real estate? Right.
So the first step is you can't get your wife to do anything. So stop there for a second. But what you need to do is get them excited about the life you can lead. And I think what you have done really well, because initially this was your idea. Now it quickly came on board, but the point is that you came to me and said, Amanda, we agree that these things are not working in our life right now. Like this corporate job, traveling too much, this isn't working. We need a different avenue. We have been presented a different avenue. Here's what I'm thinking. And here's what it can do if we pull this off. Well, because you and I have had tons of discussions about the type of life we want to live and the type of life we want to provide our children and our family and our parents and all this stuff, you are now talking about achieving what the vision was for our family. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I am in alignment. If this is the vehicle, this is the vehicle. Yeah. I'm all in. Yeah. Because you and I are in agreement on what is your life going to look like. Yeah. So I think the first question is for a husband talking to the wife is what type of life are you all trying to accomplish?
Right.
Design it. How many trips are you trying to take? What size house are you trying to have? What are you trying to provide your children? What activities are really important to you guys as a family? What causes and missions and charities are you passionate about supporting? You all need to have that type of discussion to cast the vision of this is the life. And then the next question is, okay, is what we're doing right now getting us there? If it is, awesome, then you need to just keep doing that. But if it's not, which in our case, even as high income earners, it was not, right? What are we going to do differently? And then the next thing I would say is create space for that person to insert themselves into the situation. Yeah. So I hear all the time, I'm going to broad generalizations, is typically the guy that's we're doing this. And is usually typically the bold, I'm going to go knock it out of the park type of thing.
And let's identify a lot of the source of that. All right. You're the husband, or stereotypically, this is it's the guy that goes to a real estate event, gets really excited about a particular concept, then comes home and is just plain manic. Mm-hmm. You're to the moon excited about a particular topic. You've seen people run around. It doesn't matter if you just joined CrossFit, you're into Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. You've heard somebody talk about something and you've been like, man, you need to take it down a notch, right? They come home from some sort of broad, comprehensive real estate event that has discussed every possible topic from buy and hold to multifamily to land, to novations, to subject to just Airbnb, to whatever. And then you come home and you've got some weird concept in your head and you're like, babe, we're going to do Airbnb arbitrage. And she's looking back at you like, what the heck we are. Yeah. And it just sounds like something you're going to be excited about today, but by Wednesday, you're just not going to care anymore. Right. And so then you tell your wife, this is what we're doing. And they're like, I'm not bought into that. My biggest tip for everybody is if you want somebody to be involved, or if you want someone to have the opportunity to get excited about something, take them with you to any event you go to. And it doesn't mean that you're dragging them by the collar, but what you're saying is, I know my weakness. I get excited about a lot of things. I'm going to see a lot of different opportunities. I'm going to an event that's just broad and comprehensive, that's going to show me all the possibilities in real estate. I need you, the person I trust the most in life, to help me identify the ones that are the good fit for us and what maybe we should forget about. I see people that say, okay, I want to get into house hacking. And so I'm going to go buy a quadplex and my family and I are going to live in it. We're going to do whatever. It's like, bro, you have 6 kids. You live in a 4,000 square foot home. You're going to go live in a quadplex and house hack? You're going to get divorced.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work. You need someone there to go, hey, let's just think about this. Like, I don't think this is our thing. Maybe we're Airbnb people.
Right.
Maybe we're, but I don't want to run an Airbnb. Okay, maybe we're long-term people. Well, I don't want to be a landlord. Maybe we're wholesalers. Oh, I can get involved in that. Let someone else do the work for you. Let it be inception. You do not have to be the guy that sells everything. Let someone else sell it for you. If it's their idea, that's a way better situation than trying to talk someone into it, forcing them into it, them never being passionate about it, and then you just suddenly trying to be like, why is my wife mad at me?
Right. And then at the very least, they have a base level understanding. When you're throwing out terms, they kind of at least know what you're talking about. And I think also when you have a particularly dynamic or a strong, let's put it this way, a strong visionary as one side of the couple, typically the other side of the couple is the foil, the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, we need to make sure we're protected. We need to make sure we're safe. We need to make sure we're secure. We need to make sure that let me poke holes at this to make sure that this is a sound idea.
Right.
That's not a bad thing. Like, that is a very, very important part to this whole process, because the person who's a visionary is going to sit there and just go and not really think about the consequences of what could happen. So we have to allow space for that. That's not them accusing you of not being able to accomplish something. It's shoring up the idea so that way it can be executed well, and allowing them space to be involved in the business. So sometimes the other thing I see is that when you have a strong visionary, they look like they can do everything. Like, all facets of the business. They can handle it. They're knocking it out of the park. So then the other person's like, well, you don't really need me for this vision. And it's like, no, I do need you. Like, here's where I need you. Like, and figure out that other person's strengths. What could they do that's really good? And be a valuable asset to the organization that you're trying to grow. So these are the things like that are really crazy important. Like, don't be so dynamic that the other person's like, well, they don't need me. Like, yeah, I'm good.
I think the other question we get asked a lot is like, how do you separate business from romance, right? I mean, do you? I don't even.
I mean, you were sweet talking my ear last night about sub 2. But
yeah, no, I was definitely not doing that. Obviously, there's a time and place for every conversation.
Yeah.
Whether you want to, like, whether now's a good time to talk about the kids, or whether now, and there's times to talk about other things, right? I mean, snuggles and hugs and kisses is probably not a good time to discuss real estate.
No, it's not.
Unless it's how much money you made or something sexy.
Yeah.
Separating that. Do we even really do that, or is it
not well?
Yeah,
I wouldn't say we are the poster children for that at all.
Is it just because that's essentially our life? You know, we have real estate friends and we have real estate whatever, and like
it's also like, it's our life. I mean, we own a business, so we talk about our business, and we're excited about our business. So we're talking about like we'll take walks together to like walk the dog or whatever. And like, we're talking about, okay, so like, this doesn't seem quite right. What do you think? And like, now you're spitballing with your best friend. Like, that really isn't that much different than you coming home from work and being like, oh my God, I had a terrible day. Let me tell you. Or like, I had a great day. Let me tell you about it.
Right.
It's really no different. I happen to know who was terrible and who was great that day because it's probably me.
I would say that what we've gotten really good at is like, you know, like you got a voice message the other day and you said, I don't know which direction this voice message is going to go. Like, this is either really good news or really bad news. I'll listen to it later.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night.
Well, it was also, it was actually because we were trying to, the kids were around. So it's like, let me not react to news.
Oh, there you
go.
Yeah.
While the kid, we're trying to put the kids to bed. Like,
Yes.
This is not the time.
You do not want the deciding factor for someone's really good news or really bad news, like right as you're like trying to like read a story to your children. So like, okay, so maybe put that aside. Generally speaking, since we're not answering the phone anymore, that means we're not answering the phone after hours.
Right.
So we're not handling that either. And then like if there is a dramatic or you want to use sensitive, I don't know, like whether it's money on the line or like this is going to raise your blood pressure, don't talk about it at 11 o'clock at night. Just say, we're going to handle, I'm going to bring this up tomorrow, especially if it can wait. Obviously, there's emergencies where like we need to talk about this right now, right? If a building burns down, bring it up. But like, other than that, like there's no general contracting emergencies at 11 o'clock at night. There are no, you can't talk to a lawyer after 5 o'clock.
Right.
So like just keep all of that stuff in mind and decide, do I really have to bring this up? And then I kind of go from there. I mean, because it was like, how do you separate it? I'm like, well, there's no like true walled business where we close the door behind us, lock the door, and then don't think about it. Like that was when we worked for a bank. Like if you work in the branch, at a certain point, the bank closes, you lock the vault, you lock the front door, and you don't think about banking again until 9 o'clock the next morning.
Or you go home to your spouse and you say, oh my gosh, let me tell you about the day I had. And you debrief. And like, we do the same thing. So it's like really not that much different. It's just, I actually can do something about the problem he's experiencing because I'm probably the problem. Versus like, you go home to your spouse, you're like, my day was crazy. And then the other person's like, yeah, wow, you don't say? Yeah, I told you she was crazy. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's just a little different in that respect. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, we're not trying to raise each other's blood pressure at 11 o'clock at night. Like, and it's also like, are you going to figure it out? Like, do you really need to tell this other person about this contracting issue that already has been fixed?
Well, then I think also too, once you've truly established who's responsible for what, if that email does come in and for whatever reason I do see it, I'm like, I guess Amanda's got something to deal with tomorrow.
Right.
Like it's very clearly your thing.
Right.
It's not my thing.
Yeah. So don't get involved.
It's going to sound a little cold, but it's like not my problem because that's your side of the business to take care of.
Correct.
I'm not going to lose an ounce of sleep over this because I'm just like, well, sucks for her.
Well, and vice versa. Like, sometimes you have to have difficult conversations with sellers. That is not my problem.
Right.
That's what you signed up for. So it's like, who's being held accountable to the role that this task is now falling under? Like, there are times our project manager, Connor, has to deal with stuff. And I'm like,
sucks to be you.
Sucks to be you. But like, that's
why you get paid well.
Exactly. That's what you got hired for. So like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, not I don't care. That sounds callous. I empathize, but like, I'm not saving.
That is your role.
Yeah, I'm not saving you. That is your.
You are an adult. You're a big boy. You're a big girl. Like, this is what you're paid to do.
Correct.
Paid well to do. Like,
we're
not trying to just ask you to do something outside of your scope. We're not trying to ask you to do something, whether it's me asking of you, you asking of me, like, because we do such a good job of defining each other's individual roles and not stepping on toes. Like, it's like, these are the bad days for you. These are the good days for you. Some days it's great, right? As the acquisitions person, if there's no appointments, no nothing, then I get to focus on what I'm passionate about that day, whether that's hanging out with our daughter or whether that's recording podcasts or doing whatever. I can say, let's set aside this time to do that. And there's other days where everybody just feels sorry for me. Even making all that money.
No.
It's like that, it took everything out of me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. And I appreciate the perspective that you bring to this life, to this business. I appreciate you as a wife. I appreciate you as a mom. I appreciate you as a partner in business. And what I'm really excited to do is, have you be able to provide insight to folks as time goes on, but also to have other folks in that chair that can provide a different perspective. And the next person that will be sitting in that chair is Carlos Salazar, who will be joining us to talk about his life in acquiring houses. He's done quite a bit in that world, and we're incredibly happy to have him with us. I would say too, he's also a construction expert, a flipping expert. So like, this is somebody that you're going to want to listen to and hear from that knows exactly what they're doing in that space. So we're excited about episode 2 with Carlos. So keep listening because there's a lot lot to learn, and we're here to share not just our journey, but the folks around us that we know, respect, and have high integrity that can share their journey with you as well. So thank you, guys.
All right.
Take it easy. Thanks for listening to the Talented Investors That Share podcast. Please share this with other talented investors on YouTube, your favorite streaming platform, and on Facebook at the Talented Investors That Share group. That's the best way to get your questions answered, network with other investors, and just get to know everybody better and learn.
Yeah, guys, for real. This is all he's got. So please do it.
I mean, that may be true, but did you have to put it like that?